Hello, and thank you for joining us for this week's edition of It's Your City. I'm your host, Courtney Bloomer. Today's episode is brought to you by Classy Seconds. Their new thrift store is located on Highway 50 East in Carson City. Visit them in their store or on Facebook. Our guest today is Tom Strekal, who is starring in the Proscenium Players production of Love Letters. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you. Great to be here. One of two people starring.
Tell us a little bit about the play. Don't give too much away.
I won't.
But let us know a little bit about what this really touching story is about.
It is very touching. It's about two people. They meet in second grade. They come from fairly wealthy backgrounds. They stay in touch most of their lives by writing letters to each other. In fact, the entire show is a reading of letters. A very easy show to put on because the set is very simple, chairs and letters. But a very difficult show to do well because you have to capture so much of a person's character and past through the reading of the letters. Almost a lost art. You know, people don't write letters anymore.
People don't write letters in a time where communication is instant, it's digital, it's 140 characters. Letters are not something that happens all that often. How do you feel like that has impacted the way that you've approached this show?
Well, it reminds me of my past, certainly, because I remember writing letters, certainly to girlfriends when I was in college, and thinking, you know, how much of myself I was putting into these letters, what I was trying to share of my school experience, and then waiting anxiously to get a letter in return. You know, what would I hear? What am I going to find out? How much does this person really care about me still, even though I'm far apart? And then getting those crushing letters sometimes that say, sorry, I've found someone else. So this show is about these two people. They went their separate ways, very different personalities. And I think I can relate to Andrew Makepeace Ladd III, and my partner in the show, Darlene Pearson, relates very well to Melissa Gardner.
Tell us a little bit about Darlene.
Darlene is a marvel. Darlene is, I shouldn't say how old she is. I won't say how old she is, but she has the energy of a person a third her age. She's a professional psychotherapist. She also does theater and stand-up comedy. So she lives up at Lake Tahoe. She drives a lot, but she has a passion for performance, and she is just a wonderful person to work with. She is actually the inspiration for me doing the show. She approached me of a day and said, I'd like to do this show, and I would like to do it with you. And I looked at Darlene and I said, and I would like to do it with you. And then we both looked at my wife Liz and said, and we would like you to direct. And she has never directed a show, although she has stage managed many performances over the years. Took her aback a little bit, but I think we caught her where she lives, that she has a passion for theater and she understands our characters very well.
And it probably helps that she understands you very well.
Sometimes she wishes she didn't, but but it's dynamic, even though we're sedentary. There is a lot that goes on, a lot of lives and a lot of experiences that get shared.
Before we came on camera, you were relating a scene about the annual Christmas letter. Tell us about that.
We all get Christmas letters from people, you know, sometimes more than we would like to read. I read very few Christmas letters that I ever get from people because I think this is so ponderous.
They're a little schlocky.
Quite a bit schlocky. And in this play, Andrew, my character, is assigned the task of doing the annual Christmas letter by his wife, Jane. So he makes his attempt. It is long. And it is schlocky, and my wife decided that in reading this letter...
Your real wife, we want to say the director.
My real wife said, use your radio voice. And I said, I think you've got something here. So I switch from kind of this little voice like, oh, hi, this is the Makepeace family and my wife, Jane, the quarterback. Well, hi, this is Andrew Makepeace Lloyd, and I'm writing this letter because my wife, Jane, our good little quarterback, said that this is my year to write the letter. So it makes it fun.
It does add a certain element to the annual Christmas letter, and that's a tradition that everyone is certainly familiar with and can relate to.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that in my parents' household, that's not a task that my dad would probably be very good at taking on.
No. Write the letter somebody actually wants to read.
Absolutely.
But in this show, the letters, again, are very telling. And Andrew shares a lot of his heart, even though he's a very staid, very conservative person who does just what his parents tell him to do. And that creates the problems in his life because Andrew hasn't done the things that he has wanted to do. He's been the dutiful son. Melissa grew up in an even wealthier family. I should say we both come from well-to-do families, but Melissa's family had more money than they knew what to do with. And she could do essentially whatever she wanted, and did. And a wonderful contrast in personalities, and yet seeing how their lives intersected, came together and went apart, and came together and went apart. You'll have tears.
All right. This show is being put on by the Proscenium Players.
And Brewery Arts Center.
And the Brewery Arts Center. Proscenium Players is the oldest theater company in Carson City.
Definitely the oldest and the second oldest in Nevada.
And how did you get involved with their company?
Oh my gosh, 1992. There was a series of one-act plays to prepare for a competition in Las Vegas. And I like theater. And I used to get season tickets when I lived back east for the community theaters. And I went to some shows when I first moved here, but I had small kids at the time, and it was just a little too demanding. And then one day, one of the directors approached me and said, well, we're doing these one-acts. We'd like you to be in it. I thought, okay. Well, I played the role of the elevator boy. We did like 8 performances. I had fun as the elevator boy. We then put the show together to take it to Las Vegas, and I became the elevator man. Same show, but, playing it a little bit older. And then I was hooked. As I tell people, I was bitten by the theater bug, and there's no cure.
And people who are involved in the theater know exactly what you're talking about.
And what theater has done, it has does create this wonderful sense of community. Because not only do we have friends in Carson City, we have friends at Lake Tahoe, friends in Minden Gardnerville, friends in Reno, all part of this large theater group. And so we see shows in part because we're interested in the shows, but we see a lot of shows because our friends are in it. We want to appreciate their talent, their artistry, and be inspired. And theater should be inspiring. You should come out of any show, whether a drama or a comedy, being different than when you walked in the door.
Absolutely. Tom Strekal, thank you for being with us today.
Oh, my pleasure.
Love Letters is on in the Black Box Theater at the Brewery Arts Center, February 23rd, 24th, and 25th.
2 evening performances, and the Sunday is a matinee.
Tickets are available on the Brewery Arts Center website.
That's right.
All right, and
I look forward to seeing people at the theater. Please come. It will change your lives. You will have moments, and we want you to have those moments. Share our lives and the lives of our characters with you.
All right. Thanks for being here, and thanks to all of you for joining us for this week's production of It's Your City, brought to you by Classy Seconds Thrift Shop, now open on Highway 50 in Carson City. I'm your host, Cortney Bloomer. If your business is interested in sponsoring a future edition of It's Your City, please contact Darla at the address shown on your screen. We'll see you next week.